When I met Dan, I wasn't looking for anyone. I'd not long been out of recovery.
So when I first met Alex, it was a group thing. It was a little group app called Meetup, and we went. It was an event that I went bowling.
And I think if you go to a lot of daytime groups and services, you're around some wonderful, diverse people, but you can reflect just one section of society, whereas I felt if I could be around quite a mixed bunch, I might have some positive examples for myself. So this is what I did. I joined a meetup group and I went to a few events, mainly to push my own boundaries a bit, to know that I was safe to go out different places at different times, and that any barriers I felt I did have were just in my mind.
At this point in my life, I'd stopped looking because I realised, well, there's not much point, and if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. And this evidently nervous girl sort of walked in with a mutual friend called Mandy and her other half, and yeah, I mean, she was the youngest there or close to my age as well, so that was sort of like a reason just basically to talk, because, you know, I had that feeling that, you know, it'd be easy just to have a connection with somebody closer to my age. I knew I needed some sort of opportunity just to see if we had some sort of common ground and whatnot, and she was placed on the same bowling team as me, which I was secretly hoping for because she did look really interesting, you know. And then we started there, and I think the first thing she said to me was, "Who's Boob?" Because that was my name, because, you know, I don't do normal. And and then we talked from there. I can't remember all the small talk, but I was keeping score on the scoreboard, and I worked out all the numbers because that's me. And she was impressed with the fact that I was able to do that so quickly. And I was like, well, it's an autistic head. And she was really like, oh, I'm autistic too. And it was just like, from there, it was just something in my head went boop, and that was it. And then, yeah, from there we were able to build up this really, really easy, natural rapport. We were just bouncing off each other, to be fair. We already had sort of like little inside jokes within minutes, you know. Nothing bad, just little inside jokes and things to help us have fun with the bowling and whatnot.
Always, I'm a bit shy around others, and that can manifest as just chatting non-stop, being a bit hyper, and then socially burning out quite quickly. Or I can be a bit shy and withdrawing, need a lot of breaks and vaping and times out, sometimes just sitting in the toilet, just having some time to myself. But at this bowling night, there was this guy, and he was the only other person nearish to my age. Everyone was a lot older. So he appeared very gregarious and outgoing. I later found out that's one of his coping mechanisms for socialising. But straight away we just sort of vibed off each other. We were bouncing back and forth with humour and silliness, and it turned out that he was autistic, and I was like, oh, I'm autistic as well, and ADHD is something that we both have that manifests differently in both of us, as does the autism.
She got talking about all sorts, and then she discovered that I was from Hull, and I saw her face light up because she lived in Hull and went to university there, and her mum lived there as well. And yeah, we sparked up conversation about parts of that, the area where she went to uni and whatnot. And then once the bowling had pretty much subsided, we went outside for a vape. And we just got talking. She was saying that she had to go back to Hull, and my instant response was, I don't mind taking it, you know, because it's an excuse to, you know, visit family as well. And I mean, in my head, it was, you know, an excuse to get to know her a bit better as well. And then I asked her if she wanted a lift home, because I found she was en route to me from my house, and she was really happy. She seemed like she was really at ease with that, so it was really nice. And the whole journey home, there was no awkward silences as well. It was all fun, and it wasn't a short journey, it wasn't a long one, but it was all filled with just conversation about anything and everything. And then I pulled up outside of our house, and we still carried on talking for a good 5-10 minutes after that. Yeah, find me on Facebook, this, that and the other. And I got home, and the first thing I did was look for her. I found her because she told me her name, and it wouldn't let me add her on Facebook. Her settings were set differently, so I was trying to sound less of a weird stalker at the time. We were both in a WhatsApp messenger group for the meetup group that we were in, and I was like trolling through trying to find if her number was in there, and I found something on there that looked like it was, and I messaged her from there saying, "Is that you, Alex?" And then I give her a call straight away because I'm weird like that. And yeah, she found me on Facebook, and we just continuously talked from there. It was just non-stop, and it got, I had a pretty good idea that I'd like to get to know more in a nice way. And so I was dropping all these subtle little hints and cheeky gifts and stuff like that, and she was reciprocating. She was responding quite well to them and whatnot. But honestly we just had, and I was, she later on down the line, she said that she was sort of trying to do the same sort of thing to me as well. And I kind of sort of wanted to know at that point. So it was a big risk, as anybody knows with sort of autism, that feelings like that can often be misconstrued, but she was sort of still dancing around that little sort of thing, and I was like, okay, well, I'm officially asking you out, the formal thing. And yeah, it was great. So we did that, and then we went out for a date about 5 days after we met. And I'll fill in the rest at another time.
We were messaging back and forth for a little while, not long before he officially asked me on a date, because both of us need straightforward forms of communication. We need to know exactly what's happening. And he knew this about me, I think, pretty early on, so he formally asked me on a date, and we ended up at this pub. It was, the whole decision about where to go was a saga in itself, because we both consider every single possibility within any event, and we couldn't make a decision about where to go, so we just picked somewhere randomly on a map, and we went there, and we just chatted all night. We were very silly, because both of us are very silly. I'm very childish. Just being open with another person without having to put on that mask and having to take on a persona is the most refreshing thing. And I'm sure there's other neurodiverse couples out there that have been in neurotypical relationships with neurotypicals and thought, I just don't know how to deal with this. I don't know who I need to be to relate to this person. Whereas having found another neurodiverse person that I can relate to is just a breath of fresh air, especially at a time when I wasn't looking for anything. So I approached this out of the place of, I don't need a partner, but it is nice to have one. So that's sort of me and Dan from the beginning, and I'm sure I'll be expanding on that at a later point.